start with your message. That is the dumbest business advice you could have. The number one mistake in all business across the board is creating a product or service first. In our case, a message, and then try to go find people who want to buy it.
Welcome to the Headsmack Podcast, where we have candid conversations with misfits and mavericks, those not afraid to stand up and stand out, the dreamers and the doers, the ones who've stumbled, fumbled, and then soared. Here we delve into the inspiring journeys and pivotal aha moments that have shaped their worlds. And maybe through sharing their adventures, you'll get hit with a head smack that'll change your destiny.
Hey, welcome to the Headsmack Podcast. My name is Povolni, and I'm excited to have a misfit that I've been connected to for a while and been following along with his journey and adventure. I have James Malinchak with me. James, welcome.
Hey, Paul. Thanks for having me, brother. I appreciate it.
Hey, looking forward to the conversation today. James is recognized as one of the most requested in-demand business and motivational keynote speakers and marketing consultants in the world. He was featured on the hit ABC TV show Secret Millionaire and was twice named National College Speaker of the Year. James has also delivered 3,000 presentations for corporations, associations, business groups, colleges, universities, youth organizations, and James speaks to groups ranging from 20,000 to 30,000 people. And if that is not keeping him busy enough, he is also the author of 27 books. James, you're staying busy, man.
Yeah, you know what? You're helping a lot of people. You just got to keep putting good stuff out. You know, you don't take it with you when you die, so you might as well put it out there to help others.
Yeah, that's amazing, man. So I want to hear a little bit, for those that don't know you, if they don't know you, I'm surprised, but if they don't know you, I'd like to hear a little bit about your origin story, you know, how you started, and how you became who you are now and doing all the great things that you're doing.
Well, I was born in a van down by the river. Isn't that what every speaker says?
On a friend's couch, yes.
Yeah, exactly. No, I grew up in a very tiny steel mill town outside of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, a town called Menneson, about 6,000 awesome folks. We didn't have much growing up. Dad was a railroad conductor working in the steel mill, and Mom was a lunch mother serving lunches to us kids at school. And I wasn't a real great student, or I wasn't even a good student. I was what you would call a C student, which was see your way through school. That was like,
I see you there. I said you're attempting, yeah.
And honestly, it's because I love the sport of basketball. And I thought my first big dream growing up was to play Division I college basketball. And I thought my way out of the small town was to get a basketball scholarship. So I started to hone my skills and go to tons of basketball camps. And, you know, lo and behold, I had something like 50 Division I schools that got interested in me. And I signed a basketball scholarship to go to the University of Cincinnati right out of high school. And I played there. My coach got fired. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people say, you know, relieved of their duties. And no, he got fired.
Yeah,
he was. And I ended up transferring and playing over at the University of Hawaii, of which in an exhibition game, I blew my knee out.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, rubber basketball courts and a rubber sneaker on a rubber court sticks. On a wooden court, you get a little spin, but on a rubberized court, it sticks. And when you twist, your toe doesn't go, so your knee or ankle or hip goes, and my knee went.
Wow. So now time for plan B.
Plan B. Fortunately, and I was just talking about this earlier to someone, that I had a plan B. And I think even today in business and life, people will have plan Bs.
Yeah.
Right? So I had this plan B of getting a business degree and becoming a stockbroker. I was always wanted to do that. I had a relative that was one of the most successful commodity traders on the floor of the gold, silver, and mercantile pits on the commodity exchange in the old World Trade Centers before they went down. And he came from the same small steel mill town that I came from and made hundreds of millions of dollars and been my mentor my whole life. So I worked for him one summer on the exchange and quickly realized, this ain't for me, man. This is too chaotic with all the screaming and yelling. And
so plan C.
Oh, I'm there of an office guy.
Yeah.
Plan B part 2. I'm going to be in an office, not down in the pits trading.
Yeah.
So long story short, I ended up becoming a stockbroker with a major Wall Street investment firm in Los Angeles, and did well there, got recruited, moved to the Payne Weber Beverly Hills office, And then I was managing the entertainers, the accounts of entertainers and pro athletes. My office was on Rodeo Drive, the corner of Wilshire and Rodeo Drive in Beverly Hills. And I did a training one time, and a guy saw me and said, "Man, we want you to come and talk to our sales reps." And I'm like, "I don't talk. I was just doing a training for the other brokers here."
Yeah.
And he said, "Well, we only want you to talk for 45 minutes." I said, I don't talk. And he said, "And we'll pay you $5,000." I said, I talk. Quality rates over. And Paul, that's how I got into speaking. And one was it two led to three led to five, and here we are, 3,000 some talks later. I still pinch myself like, I can't believe I've done all these talks.
Wow. So Plan B Plus became Plan Cha-Ching, and I am now a speaker.
God works in this one. I don't say mysterious, I say wonderful ways sometimes, because you go down the path that you don't see.
Then did you ever have a fear of speaking? Like, but did you because they say that's the number one fear, and you're like, yeah, I'll do it. So like, what was that experience like?
If you think about that, right? It is the number one fear, right? And it's even ahead of dying, the fear of dying, right?
Yeah.
And so if you think about it, what does that say? That means that people would rather be lying in the casket than standing up and giving the eulogy. Right. If it's a number one fear.
Yeah.
Paul, guys, I was so awful when I started. Like, I forgot everything. I used to read it, typed out word for word. Yeah, I could remember where I was at and what I was supposed to say and what came next, and I would make stuff up that made no sense. I was wrong, man. Because I would freeze up and get nervous, and then I'd be like, "Oh my gosh!" The more you try to think of what you're supposed to say, the worse it is. And I was like, I wish I had some of those videos from back in the day. If I showed those people, everybody would know. Oh, I was trying to be Mr. Success guy, And here I am working in a broke, nobody can't remember my talk, and I'm teaching success.
Now, have you used any of the stuff from that first talk later on and refined it, or did you like totally trash it and never say any of that ever again?
I got rid of it all, man, because I was like, I don't even know first of all, I didn't know what I was saying. Yeah. See, now I speak from a depth of experience. I only talk about stuff that I've actually gone through in my life, whether it's business, financial, or personal.
Yeah.
And, you learn in any goal, dream, or business, you learn and you evolve. And I quickly learned, to really be with integrity and have authenticity, you should only speak about stuff you know.
Right.
So that one.
Not fake it until you make it. Wait, until you make it is not a good plan?
I hate that.
So when it comes to... Go ahead.
I was just going to say, it programs you to be fake.
Yeah. So when it comes to, being a speaker, I mean, you do that amazingly. I've watched your stuff, and truly you are gifted at that. So when people want to get into speaking, they say, well, I have a message. Is that the right place to start?
I'm so glad you asked that. I am actually, so a little story. So I'm writing a book. My company is called Big Money Speaker.
Yeah.
The logo is a coin for a reason, because I always say there's two sides to the coin. On the one side, we have our message. We have our story, our how-to information. We have impacting people, wanting to change lives. And most people get taught that that's all you need. Yeah. And I taught my first Big Money Speaker boot camp in 1998.
Wow.
That's a lot. And I've done 1,000 of them. I retired it in 2017. But the reason I got into teaching others is people would ask me, how did you do this? You're not famous. You didn't fall out of an airplane and live. You didn't win a Super Bowl and have a ring. You don't have a gold medal, but you're booking 100 and 100 to 150 talks a year. And I'd never even heard of you at really good fees. And who the heck are you? And so I started teaching this boot camp. And the reason I started teaching it was to teach what I call the flip side of the coin.
Yeah.
All the business stuff, right? How do you find people who have budgets? How do you position yourself to get them to pick you? If you're doing a speak and offer, speak and sell situation, how do you deliver amazing value and have a bunch of people enroll with you? So to answer your question, long about answer, I retired in 2017. But I had two things. One, I had this like little bumblebee flying around in my belly. Like, man, I just feel like I'm not leaving a big enough legacy to help people.
Yeah.
But I had this misconception. I need to go back on the road and do talks in order to do that. I was like, I don't want to do that. I've done 3,000 of them. I've been through every airport you can imagine.
Right.
I always used to say the Super 8 hotel looks no different than the Regis, St. Regis or the Ritz-Carlton to me. It's all traveling a lot, right?
Right.
So, and so I just believe God spoke to me and said, man, that's how you can leave a legacy. Why don't you teach people how they can profit with their careers?
Yeah.
You don't have to fly all over and speak. Like, just teach people all the knowledge you know. And so that's when I decided to come back. And here's why. So that's the first reason. The second reason is I got so sick and tired of all the nonsense that I saw being taught online, where people said, who were teaching others, start with your message. That is the dumbest business advice you could have. The number one mistake in all business across the board is creating a product or service first. In our case, a message, and then try to go find people who want to buy it.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, you find out. So to answer your question, no, I tell people, and I teach my students, you start with the market first. Because if you want to speak for real estate entrepreneurs, that message is going to be different than if you speak to kids.
Right.
Versus if you speak to an association that's made up of credit managers who work in 9-to-5 jobs. Those messages are going to be different. Right. So if you start with the message, you're basically trying to put a square peg in a round hole and swim upstream. Whereas if you start with what are they already booking and then craft your message to fit what they're used to already paying checks for and booking, then you win. So glad you asked that, because I'm writing my book right now called Big Money Speaker Secrets in order to get all of my information out that I used to share in my 4-day boot camp to leave a legacy and to help as many people as possible.
Wow, that's amazing. So, you said there that find out what they are booking. How do you find that out?
Oh my gosh, it's so you got to understand. Let me share this. So these are two different sides of speak. Okay, you got to draw an imaginary line down the middle of the room, so to speak. On one side, you have fee-paid speaking, meaning you get paid a check, a fee. And on the other side, you have what's called public events, where you most likely will not get paid, and you have to do what's called speak. I coined the phrase speak and offer. Most people call it speak and sell. I don't like that. I think you should be there to impact the audience and then make an offer. So you speak and make an offer. And if you do the presentation in the right way, people come to the inevitable conclusion, hey, I want to take the next step. You don't have to sell.
Right.
Selling is kind of icky to people.
Right.
Okay? So first of all, you divide it. Now, if you're looking over here on the fee paid, there are 3 primary fee paid markets. Okay. 1 is corporations and associations. 2 are colleges and universities. And 3 is the educational market, which is K through 12. Now, I know what someone watching might say, well, what about the entrepreneur? No, entrepreneurs are over here in a public side of speaking, which means in a public event, anybody can attend. You can buy a ticket and show up. That's what most entrepreneur events are. Over here, unless you're what I call a shamu, like Shamu the Well, you're not going to get paid. And I don't know if you know what a shamu is, Paul, but
I don't know what a shamu. I know what a whale is, but I have no idea in this context what it is.
Well, shamu is who drew everybody out to SeaWorld.
Right.
But people didn't make money on shamu. I mean, the upkeep for a killer whale, the training, the food, the security. So shamu was an expense, but nobody ever went to SeaWorld to see James the dolphin, right? Everybody went to see the star shamu. So if you think about these public events, they got tons of shamus.
Yeah,
they got celebrities, well-known people to draw us to the park. Right? So if you're not that type of person, like recognition, name, celebrity, then you're never going to get booked and paid to speak in public events. So you have to do what's called a speak and offer. So When I was on the Secret Millionaire TV show, which is a blessing. I mean, we were now viewed by over 50 million people.
Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing.
It's unbelievable. I'm just a steel mill town kid, man, from Pennsylvania. This is crazy, right? But when I was on that show, oh my gosh, I was a big shamu over here.
Yeah.
Everybody invited me to come to their entrepreneur events, and they all paid me fees. Once that notoriety died off, I'm back in the speak and offer over here for these public events.
Wow.
But over here in the paid world, anybody, you don't have to be famous to get paid to speak. But those are the three primary. There's also some smaller ones like the faith-based market.
Right.
I actually did a seminar tour for Life Surge, which is a big Christian-based company. It was myself, Tim Tebow, Nick Vujicic, guy with no arms and no leg.
Yeah.
And Willie from Duck Dynasty and a bunch of other great speakers. But I was actually paid over here.
Right.
Okay. I'm sorry, paid over here, but that's a smaller sector of who looks for speakers. The top three are corporations and associations, colleges, universities, and education, which is K through.
Yeah, absolutely. Love that. Love the shamu illustration.
You love the shamu.
Yeah. I spoke to Dennis Yu, and he also talked about being the logo speaker. You know, that sometimes, you know, if you having a logo or a brand associated with you, you get invited to speak places because you're the logo speaker as well.
That adds to that celebrity.
Yeah.
Well, like me used to work for Facebook, I think, right?
He used to work for Yahoo.
Well,
yeah.
I mean, that Yahoo is a shamu.
Right.
So he might not be the shamu, but Yahoo could be positioned as a shamu.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned Secret Millionaire. That was pretty amazing. And, you know, I've watched that. I've enjoyed it. I'm sure it was a life-changing experience for you. What lessons did you learn there that have stuck with you even post that? I mean, now it's been a couple of years since. What lessons have stuck with you since then?
Yeah, it was one of the true great blessings of my life. The biggest blessing I've ever received from God was when my sister Vicky was diagnosed with a brain tumor, and then eventually 3.5 months later passed away. The greatest gift I ever received was for that time period before she passed away, I got to spend time with her.
Yeah.
That was sister and brother time. And I said, man, never in my lifetime am I ever going to get anything that comes close to that. Being on Secret Millionaire wasn't as high as that, but it was the second greatest blessing I've received.
Wow.
Because I learned what true sacrifice, true giving, and true serving is all about. So for anybody that doesn't know, basically I lived undercover. So imagine, Paul, that a big crane comes and picks you up out of your house and takes you and just drops you something.
Wow. Yeah. Quite a shock. Yeah.
Yeah. And you have no credit cards. They don't let you take credit cards.
Wow.
They don't let you take a cell phone. I didn't even have a watch. There's no connection with the outside world.
Wow.
And so basically what I did was I lived undercover, hence Secret Millionaire. Nobody knew who I was. I lived on ABC television, gave me $44.66 for the week. To live on it.
Wow.
Because that is what a male with no dependents in that place that I was, which was Gary, Indiana, would receive in assistance for a week. Crazy.
Wow. Oh my goodness. Wow.
So they wanted me living like that. And like, I remember sitting when I first got to Gary, which by the way, when they picked me up at my house, they filmed me. They said, we're taking you to Gary, Indiana. How do you feel about that? Great. All I knew was Larry Bird, the great Boston Celtics basketball player, was from Indiana, and I'm going to a farm and I'm going to be milking cows or something. That's what I thought. I didn't know anything about Indiana.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that Gary was the number 2 murder capital in the U.S. at that point.
Wow.
Had no idea. So I get to this place and I'm in this apartment, and they hand me an envelope for my food money for the week, and I open up, it's $44.66. I'm like, huh?
Is this for lunch?
Yeah. I remember like I wasn't banking and I just like blurted something out. I said, man, I spent $4,000 a night in Vegas because I have a house in Vegas. I spent $4,000 taking friends out to Vegas to like UFC fight. And I'm like, and I didn't know that they were going to start shocking me with things like that throughout the show.
Yeah, yeah.
So, but you know,
keep you on your toes. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Yeah. And so, but I met these people, right? What I had to do was I had to go volunteer for certain organizations. And I mean, I cleaned toilets. I cleaned up, garages that had trash in it for 20 years.
Wow.
You know, it's whatever they needed me to do, I did. And what I learned, and they didn't know who we were. They thought we were just doing a documentary on organizations who serve the community. They didn't know we were ABC and this was going to be worldwide.
Wow. Wow. So what was your alias for those who haven't seen it? What did they say you were?
So I was a volunteer who was going through a change of life and trying to figure my way. And I just wanted to volunteer in your charities as I'm coming through, the town or your organizations. As a matter of fact, they wanted to give me a fake name and I wouldn't do it because I said, that's not authentic. That's lying. So we went with James and then Robert, not Roberts, James Robert, because that's my middle name. And I said, I'll do that because that's true.
Yeah.
They couldn't give my last name because they were scared that somebody would Google it, find out, and then the show's destroyed.
Right.
So, by the way, I had a contract where I was sued for, I think it was $2 million if I told anybody and let the word out, because we filmed it 6 or 8 months before it came out.
Yeah.
But I learned true science. So I met these amazing, beautiful angels, I call them.
Yeah, wow.
Because some of them would work 10 hours a day and make $20.
Wow.
And they just did it to serve. I remember I was cleaning up an alley with 3 guys that had just recently gotten out of prison. I mean, these were tough guys.
Yeah.
Like, you hear people like say they're tough, and no, these guys were in prison. One guy murdered a guy, was out after 20 years, and these were real street guys. Like, good guys. I love them. We got along great, but you knew they were real tough guys.
Right.
And this guy, I was cleaning a alley with him, and I said, can I ask you? Because one of the things I had to do on the show was to get to know these folks, to try to figure out, I was going to give away $100,000 to various charities. So I had to learn about and find out their purpose and reason for why they're doing it. I asked this guy, man, he had just gotten out of prison he was in for 20 years. Awesome guy. And I said, and I remember him telling me, he said, look, I'm not a bad dude. I made a stupid mistake when I was a kid. And I paid for it for 20 years. And now I'm just trying to live a good life and help people. And so I asked him, I said, he would work 10 hours a day and make like $20 or $30 working for this organization. And I was like, hey, you do this. It's so admirable, but I don't understand.
Yeah.
And he pointed to an elderly man and an elderly lady sitting on a swing in their yard, like a little porch swing, who had to stare at the alley with, and Paul, when I say trash, 30 feet high, looked like trucks just dumped it there, and it was there for years.
Wow.
And he said, I do it for them. And I said, what do you mean? He said, because one day that elderly man and that elderly woman's going to sit, man, I get goosebumps just every time I go down this path. They're going to sit on that swing one day, and they're not going to see this trash anymore. They're going to enjoy their view.
Wow.
So that was true giving and true sacrifice and true serving. So
that stuck with you all this time, yeah?
Oh, yeah. See, I thought I was going on this show to live undercover, write some checks, and then I go home, right?
Right.
I got way more out of the show and what I learned from them than they got out of the $100,000 I gave away.
Yes, yeah.
They taught me, here's the last thing I'll leave you with. They taught me riches more than money.
Wow.
Because I know you know people, I know people that are super rich.
Right.
Monetary-wise.
Right.
But they're failing in all other areas of life, right? And so I created an acronym out of the word rich. I actually wrote a book after I came off the show and dedicated it to all of them. It was called Riches More Than Money, the lessons I learned being a secret millionaire that will change your life. And so there's 4 principles. R stands for relationships are everything.
Yeah.
I stand for inspire others with your actions. Okay. C stands for contribute and serve others. And H is have a happy mindset, because those are the 4 things I learned from these people.
That. Absolutely love that. So with, that was a pretty powerful lesson. Did that impact your speaking moving forward? Like, did that change anything, or was that a momentary emotional moment that didn't do a thing for you?
Oh my gosh, no, to this day. And I'll tell you how it impacted me immediately. So speaking wise, I was a very successful road warrior, fee-paid speaker.
Yeah.
Right. I could be in the state of Washington on Monday, Toronto on Tuesday, Tallahassee, Florida on Wednesday, Washington, D.C. on Thursday, another place, New York City on Friday and Saturday.
Right.
Right. I was all over. And at my peak, I was doing over 100 to 150 of those a year. Right.
Wow.
And so after a while, it just became going through the motions. All right, I got to go, do this talk, pick up this check, get on to the next one. Right?
Right.
I had the message down. It was the same talk all the time. So that was not, I didn't even have to practice. I've done it so many times. It was like, flip it on, flip it off an hour later. Right?
Right.
But when I came off the show, I started to have a new appreciation and be grateful for having the opportunity to serve those individuals in the audience and help them.
Right.
The same way that guy was serving the elderly man and lady on the swing when he paid $20 to $30 a day.
Yeah. So does that tie back into what you shared previously about not starting with the message, but starting with understanding a problem that needs to be solved? Is that
in the market?
Yeah.
In the market. Yeah.
As you said, you had the same message that you were sharing every single place, but suddenly you changed from just having the same message to now having something more to it.
Yeah, and it was more of a spirit that I brought to it. I brought a different spirit, and to this day, I have a different spirit to it.
Wow.
I always think there's one person in that audience who was put there that day to hear this guy they'd never heard of before. And how dare I disrespect that human being by just going through the motions.
Wow. That'll change you as a speaker. And people will feel that. People will feel that you're just kind of dialing in. People feel it when actors just kind of dial it in. And they feel it when speakers kind of just dial it in.
Yeah.
But then having that new perspective that came about from seeing people with nothing still serving and having dreams to serve others, it wasn't, hey, one day I want to see myself in a great car and a great house, but like his dream, his desire was to help this older couple to one day be able to look out into this alleyway and not see the trash. I mean, that'll change you when you start seeing those perspectives. And it's amazing how that kind of changed you moving forward in even just your speaking. It just resets you, right? It was kind of a reset of the mind and the spirit, and so I know a lot of what you do, and we're friends on social media, and I see a big smile and the people coming to your house and doing cool stuff. What are some of the, when people come to your house, they hang around your cool pool, they learn a lot of great things. What are some of the first things, just like you had a mindset reset, what are some of the first things that you start dealing with when you're either coaching or when you're coaching these teams? What are some of those mindset resets that you try and tackle early on?
Yeah, but let me kind of, before that, set it up so people watching or listening understand. So in speaking, right, we got the 3 fee-paid, right, main verticals. Then over here, we got speak and offer. So one of my hidden secrets that I created years ago on how I have so many people enroll with, literally every time I speak, no matter where I'm at, I'm one of the top, if not the top, at people enrolling with. And that's not because I'm such a great speaker. It's because I give such a unbelievable offer that they can't say no.
Yeah.
Right. And I believe if you just dump a lot of stuff into your offer that is stuff they want, it can't just be random stuff.
Right.
And that they could see the value that they're going to get from it, then you don't have to sell people. They just come to the inevitable conclusion and go, oh, I'd have to be a fool to not take this. Look at all this stuff we get that can help me. right?
Right. I want more of that. Yeah.
Yeah. So my offer has always been the same thing. You get access to 3 of my online speaker, if I'm speaking on the topic of speaking, 3 of my courses online that we sell for $3,000. You get 2 tickets to come to one of my live 4-day trainings for free, you and a friend. And you and a friend get to come to my house for free for 2 days of me coaching you in a small group setting for 2 days. And all you got to do is get to Las Vegas. We pick you up. We have lunch for you and all that. And they're like, wait. And then I'll sell that for $2,000, $19.97. I'll have people come up to me and say, wait a minute, I think you made a mistake. You need $20,000. Like, I said, no, about $2,000. I get to come to your house for 2 days on top of all that. Wow. I'm like, sure. Wow. Yeah. I'm like, well, I'd have to be a fool not take it.
Yeah, that's an irresistible offer. Yeah.
Absolutely. So that's why you always see I have so many books in my house. So now to answer your question, I think the number one, if I had to pick a mountain peak, okay, there's a lot of things going up the mountain, but if I had to pick the number one thing with mindset that I really got to shift somebody with, and I'm dealing with people with business, so I'm usually helping them. It could be get started speaking, it could be selling a business, it could be franchising, growing, is to actually get them to believe it's possible. Because they got all this junk going on in their head.
Right.
We all do.
Yeah.
I came from this small town, so I can't do it. The media says the economy is really the worst it's ever been, so I can't do it. Right? They come up with all the excuse, what I call the but. Right?
Right.
I'd like to grow my business, but I can't do it. So I have to teach them to get their butts out of the way. Basically.
I like that. Yes.
And to believe that they can do it. And one of the ways I do that is 2 ways. One, I tell them a lot of stories of people just like them. Right? And number 2, I give them real tangible nuggets that they can use right now.
Yeah.
Here's how you do this. Do this, and I just cut through the chase, trim off all the fat, just get right to the main dish and tell them, here's how you do this. And so here's what's amazing, Paul. You ready for this?
I'm totally ready.
I'm actually flying to Boise on Sunday because Monday, Russell Brunson with ClickFunnels is having me on his podcast. And then I'm on a live webcast Tuesday for Dan Kennedy and his magnetic marketing new book. Russell bought Dan's company.
Right.
And I will actually be talking on the podcast about this. When folks are at my house, at the end of the 2 days, I asked them, I said, how many of you got some value here? Everyone. They're like, dude, I took 32 pages of notes. I just can't believe how much you, for free, have been helping us.
Yeah.
And I said, well, do you think if you spent a whole year with my mind thinking for you, creating for you, working for you, and figuring things out, that you would accelerate your business? And they all go, yeah. I said, well, if it's okay with y'all, I'll share with you how I could work with you one-on-one in my coaching program for the next 12 months. Oh, yeah. And by the way, after the first day, they're already asking Cindy, my assistant, does he do one-on-one coaching? I can't believe how much for free he's helped me.
Yeah.
So here's what I want to tell you, Paul. This is one of the reasons Russell, I think, wants to interview me. I have a 71.6 upsell rate, if you will, stepping up into our high-price coaching programs.
Wow.
After I teach them for free for 2 days.
Wow.
I mean, you show me anybody out there that comes close to that number. There ain't nobody comes close. Not even.
That's 3-step funnel, right?
And that is my funnel for our business. I speak, I could be on a webinar, a challenge. I make an incredible offer that they can't say no to, that they see a lot of value. They come to my house. I just train them and teach them for 2 days and genuinely help them. And I don't care if they ever enroll with us. I want them walking out saying, dang, I paid $3,000 for another event. That was the best thing I came to, and it was free. Right? I want them walking out. And, so then the step 2, they come to the house, I train them and teach them. And then step 3, I make them an offer. That's been my funnel for the last 15 years.
Wow.
So I don't need an online funnel when I got 71.6%, investment rate into a $30,000 and $100,000 coaching program.
Wow. So how does that translate to the people that you coach? Can they use that funnel? How would that translate to what they do?
It's funny. My most successful coaching clients, I've had clients for 15, 16 years. Okay. What's funny is the ones who are the most successful coaches use it.
Wow.
And the ones who don't have a successful coaching business, and maybe that's not their practice. I got people who run brick and mortar businesses, et cetera. But the ones who use it, it works tremendously, because here's what it's about. The key is they come to my house. I'm not sticking them in a hotel room.
Yeah.
I'm treating them like human beings.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We pick them up in a nice Mercedes van. We have lunch catered in for them. We drive them back in a nice Mercedes van to the hotel. Like, we're taking care, and they're at my house. They're hanging out at my pool, playing basketball on my court, playing putt-putt golf on the break. So we're building relationships. And
it's immersive. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I just believe if you go the extra mile, there's the old line, right? Go the extra mile because it's never crowded.
Right. Right. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Now, I know you also, with the coaching and with the speaking, you're also a super big fan of the value of books. And, I know that played a big part in even your career, from going from where you were to where you are now. And, I know we're coming up against time here, but can you quickly share the impact of books and writing books? Because it's got me thinking I need to write a book now.
Oh, brother, you have to. So I've taught 1,000, I guess, of my own live event speaker trainings over the years, right?
Yeah.
I've had, when I was pumping it hard, I'd have 700, 800, 900 people there 4 times a year for a speaker training, which is crazy because that's such a narrow niche.
Right.
We had folks from 100 countries attend. Okay.
Wow.
Which just such a blessing. But here's what I realized, and I never wrote a book on speaking. I've written other books with peak performance, success, motivate. I never did it for my core thing, because I was like, well, I have folks who pay $2,000 to $3,000 to sit in a seminar. Why would I put it all in a $25 book?
Yeah.
Just strategically, from a business perspective, it's not a smart business move in terms of revenue. Right?
Right.
So I never did it. Like, my rule was, you have to come to my event if you want to learn all this. And I was blessed. I taught a lot of people. But Russell Brunson actually said something to me not too long ago that I'd never thought of. He said, one of the things that helped us grow ClickFunnels through the roof was when I wrote Expert Secrets, when I wrote the book.
Wow.
I was like, really? He's like, yeah, because so many more people heard my message that would never have become ClickFunnels members had they not read it in a $20, $15 book.
Right. Wow.
And then that got me thinking, because I'm a guy that looks at patterns. I go back and look at past patterns, right? Past behaviors.
Yeah.
And I said, well, if you think about it, Russell just bought the rights to certain aspects of Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich.
Right.
Well, it's a book.
Yeah.
Why all these years Think and Grow Rich is still talked about the book? Why don't they talk about the VHS course that he originally had?
Yeah. Yeah.
Or the cassette. No one talks about that. Everybody says the book. If you think about Dr. Gary Chapman, the 5 love languages, 30 million books sold. Now, I went to Maui for a 5-day seminar with them. No one ever talks about Dr. Gary Chapman, the 5-day seminar, or the online course. Everybody says the 5 love languages book.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
Dr. Stephen Covey, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People.
Right.
My friend used to run all of his retail sales of courses and seminars. No one ever talks about that. They talk about his book.
Yeah. That life-changing book.
Now, I don't want to get spiritual on everybody, but the Bible is a book. It's not a home study course that people talk about.
Absolutely. Right. Right.
So I put all that together with what Russell mentioned to me, and I was like, why haven't I done my big money speaker book? I will help many more people who would never have the opportunity to come to my seminars if I were still doing them, and who would never get an online training because they don't like to sit there and go through self-study, but they'll read a book.
Wow.
So that's the impact. And I'm grateful I've done 27 books and all these different areas of my speaking, but I never did one for what I teach people is how to become speakers.
Right.
So I'm not doing it right now, buddy. You need to do it. Paul, you don't do it, I'm going to come and yell at you.
Please do. I need to be held accountable. Even with launching this podcast, like I got the idea and 2 weeks later I launched because I wanted to launch on my 55th birthday. And I'm like, okay, I've got to do this. So I think I've got a Headsmack book coming along at some point. But, you know,
can I give you a tip on how to do it?
Absolutely.
How many episodes have you done?
I've recorded 26 episodes. I'm releasing my 10th one tomorrow.
You can transcribe all those and you have a book.
Boom. I've interviewed some amazing people too.
Yeah.
So, you know,
transcribe them all and you got a book. Well, what I learned from speaking to some of the, you can title it, you know, the Headsmack Success. What I learned from talking to some of the most successful, amazing people in the world.
Yeah. Love it. All right, man. I'm putting that in my notebook. But I think it's,
and I'll give you a testimonial. For it so we could help promote it.
Oh, love it, man. Love it. And I think you're absolutely right in that some people fear putting their best ideas in the book if that's what they also speak about. Because it's like, well, why would somebody come here and speak? But you look at every great author, Seth Godin, constantly interviewed and still writing about the very things that he's wrote about and others, you know, Donald Miller and all these, you know, Owen McManus, they all speak about the topic. They already put everything in the book. And so I think getting away from that fear of putting it all in a book because I fear that then I'm going to just give away all my good stuff.
You know, I came from that same place.
Yeah.
Right. Back with, rather than pay $2 or $3 grand to come to the seminar, right. Rather than give it all away in a book. But I realized something with myself about 3 or 4 years ago, that's what Zig Ziglar used to call stinking thinking. You know,
love it.
And now that is not a prosperity mindset that I had.
Yeah.
That was a poverty mindset.
Wow. Yeah.
That I had, and I could be impacting more people, and I said I'm doing it, and I'm taking all my great stuff. Literally, I transcribed my 4 days of the event, and I'm going through, and I had 8 sections I taught at the training. There's 8 chapters in the book. It's exactly what it's my best stuff, and that's how I'm going to leave a legacy and change lives.
Now, books also played a part in launching your speaking career, didn't they? Weren't they a big part of it?
You know what I learned? Yes, the answer is yes. And what I learned was nobody wanted to book me as a speaker, but they loved the booking the guy who wrote the book to come speak.
Wow.
Isn't that amazing?
That's a head smack for somebody right there. That's awesome. Yeah.
I'd say it's the most bizarre, nutty, crazy thing in the world because you already have the knowledge, the inspiration, the stories. But buddy, until you put it into this square little thing that society and the world says is a book, now all of a sudden you're a somebody and you're buying. It's crazy, and your stuff is better when it's packaged in this square thing. It's amazing.
Yeah, well, this is amazing, and you mentioned it, and I wish we had more time to even talk about, from your millionaire secrets about the rich, like what makes people rich. I mean, there's even within those 4 things, and I want to repeat them again: relationships are everything, inspire others with your actions, contribute and serve others, and have a happy mindset. Guys, get that book, Millionaire Secrets, to get more of that. And I wish we had time to even go through all of that. Well, as we wrap this up, you've spoken, 3,000 times, 27 books. I know you got 3 more in the works. When it all comes down to it, you talked about legacy. What is like the one thing you want people to say about James Malinchak?
Wow, that's I think I would love them to say the guy was real. He didn't bullshit me. He gave me real stuff. And because of knowing him, my life is better.
Wow.
I think that would be a really good blessing.
Yeah, man, that's amazing. Well, James, thank you so much for being on today. This has been awesome. I'd love to do it again because I don't think
let's do it again.
A smidgen of what we could have talked about. And I just love your attitude, love your smile, love all the inspiration that you post and the impact you're making on people's lives, man. And is there any final thing you want to share before we wrap this up?
Yeah, you got in my book. If they want to get it, they can have it for free. It's millionairefreebook.com. They just covers, I think, $8 for shipping. It's a hardcover book, $25, and it'll be shipped out for free, and they can get it there. Just cover the shipping. But the last thing I would like to say is, well, first of all, thank you, brother, for having me on. You're helping me leave a legacy by sharing some information. I hope it helps your viewers and listeners.
Oh, this is awesome.
But I just want to tell everybody who's tuning in this, that you already won in life because you were born.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. We outswam hundreds of millions of sperm to make it to Earth.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? To make it as a human being. So we all come into this world as winners. And then somewhere along the line, we listen to noise and we allow society and things to mold us into believing we're not winners and that we can't do beautiful things and great things. And so what I'd like to just leave with everybody with is to remind you that you already won because you're here. You're blessed because you flipped your eyelids open this morning, because there are people all over the world that didn't have that honor and privilege to wake up today. And that you are a winner and you have greatness within you and you are special and you have specialness within inside of you. So focus on that when you're trying to do what you want to do in your life with your goals and your dreams and the impact you want to have. Don't listen to all the garbage and the noise out there trying to derail you from that specialness.
That's awesome, man. I appreciate that. Folks, if you have got anything out of today's podcast, just one head smack, I encourage you to put that into action. The worst thing you could do is listen to something, be blown away, write it down in a notebook, and then not act on it. And that's what Headsmack is all about, is take those aha moments, those slaps in the forehead where you go, that was brilliant, and then act on that and take action, whether you want to be a speaker, an author, or whatever it is. Take action on that today. James, thank you so much for your time and appreciate you being on, brother, and have an amazing day.
Brother, you're the best. Thanks for having me. I appreciate you and what you're doing to impact people.
Thank you for joining us on the Headsmack Podcast. We've shared some candid stories and life-changing ideas. And now it's your time to act. First, take bold action on just one idea and see how your life can radically change. Secondly, whatever platform you're listening to this on, please rate it, share it, and leave a comment. Let us know where this episode impacted you. I appreciate you giving me your time, and don't forget to join us for our next Misfit conversation.